Well, welcome back for another episode of the Chamber Podcast. This is episode 130. My name is Rob Johnson. Joining me in studio today is Kelli King-Penner. She's the Supervising Attorney at Mannor Law Group. Kelli, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So first time here.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to have you. So we're talking all things legal today. So just from a practice perspective, what are some of the main things that Mannor Law Group focuses on?
Yeah, so we're an estate planning and elder law practice. We definitely focus on having everyone have really good estate planning documents in place. Pretty much anybody 18 years and older should be planning for the different phases that might pop up in life. And there's a lot of misinformation out there, so we really definitely focus on that. The other portion that we focus on is really the elder care side of it, and that's really focusing how we can better plan for our families, for our financial security as we go through that aging process. We always hope for the best, but we know that that path in life is not always straightforward, and there is so much to try and navigate through that process that we focus on kind of bringing all of those pieces together.
I love it. I want to get more into the Mannor Law Group and how you guys operate and what you do and how you serve people. Let's talk about Kelli for a minute.
Sure.
So tell me, what brought you into the path of becoming an attorney?
So I think I'm the only person in my law school class that said that they specifically wanted to go to law school for estate planning, mostly because I find that it's one of the most relatable areas of law, and normally it's a positive experience with attorneys. Earlier on in my career, I definitely did a fair mixture of things, but I always found that the estate planning and now the elder law side has been more of the fulfilling portion of it. I like to help people, and that's so cliche as an attorney, but truly in this space, you feel like you're doing good work. You're not, businesses suing each other. You're helping people, you're helping families. And that's definitely something that I was able to achieve in my career. Another portion of it is just I like solving problems. I'm a huge problem solver. I'm a puzzle solver. The law definitely gives you a lot of opportunity for that.
So when you graduated from law school, was Mannor the first place you went to?
No, I actually worked at a small firm up in the Saginaw area. I got some really good experience in a variety of areas. I've always done the estate planning side and then the post-death administration side of it as well, so probate, administration of trust and everything. But I got a lot of experience in different areas. So I did a lot of civil litigation, landlord-tenant, some real estate matters. All of that has really kind of funneled in and has really improved my estate planning game, so to speak, because really every family is unique, individual, and it's rare that you're ever having those other faucets not come in. So everybody has real estate. That's definitely a background that we can kind of sort through. And then people have businesses. So all of that kind of goes hand in hand. I ended up relocating and was looking for a place closer and was connected with Mannor Law Group, what was really focused on all the things that I really liked about what I was doing: education, informing people, the puzzle solving, and that just ended up being kind of a perfect fit.
I know lawyers and people that are moving firms, they're not particularly sitting around with nothing to do. There's a ton of openings for attorneys at varying firms. What drew you to Mannor, and why did you choose to go there?
So specifically, it ended up being kind of a network connection thing, but I met with kind of a mutual person that at the time was teaching a Dale Carnegie course. So a Dale Carnegie leadership course is what I went through. And I met with her, and she asked me, she's like, well, what do you like? Like, well, I really like helping people. I like teaching people. I like that education process. I like that relationship development and really kind of seeing things through. Because with estate planning and the administration side, you really actually get to see your plans come to fulfillment and how they're actually playing out. So I met with her. I told her all those specific things and that, I was kind of looking for a change. And she said, I have the perfect place for you. So we ended up meeting. At the time, they were not necessarily looking for hiring an attorney. I met the team. I met everybody kind of involved at the time and just truly felt everything that they were very passionate about. And I can remember going home and telling my husband, I think I found a really good place. And 7 years later, I don't even question that. It doesn't even feel like it's been 7 years. But truly just the amount of growth that I've experienced with Mannor is just immeasurable at this point.
So when people come to you from a legal perspective, typically they have a problem that they need solved, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the main reason that they engage with you. I want to I want to kind of cut against that for a minute and talk about what should people be doing so it doesn't escalate to the spot where now I have this massive problem to solve. Because from a state perspective, you always need an attorney, right, to get that organized and all of that. But when it comes down to when I have legal issues or I have issues, what can people do to be avoiding those issues?
So honestly, the biggest thing that people can do is plan. And so much, I feel like, comes back when people think estate planning. A lot of times they're thinking like really wealthy individuals, like tens of millions of dollars. And yeah, there's a sector of that. But really, when we talk about estate planning, we're basically saying that if something were to happen to you, who do you want in place that you love and you trust to make sure that your family's being taken care of, but not even so much that you're being taken care of the way that you want to be taken care of. And to do that is really just planning for it, because things happen in life, whether or not we kind of approach them head on or we're blindsided by them, things come up. So failing to plan, I think, is kind of one of those things that people just think, oh, well, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. And there are some very kind of key points in lives that I think people hit in their journey that kind of bring this around. For me, it was the birth of my son, of making sure that I had stuff in place for this tiny person that needs something. But I also look at it from the outside in terms of, you've got a health diagnosis. You've got a diagnosis in the family of, Alzheimer's, dementia. How does that affect everything? And we know that potentially is going to progress to a point where you're not able to make those decisions for yourself. So really the biggest thing that people can do and approach it is just know that there is a mechanism to plan for this. And it just, as things have gotten more complicated, we know that the laws are getting more complicated in general. What people used to do 20 years ago is not what is commonplace now. And there's just really so much misinformation of what's involved in all of those different pieces. And especially that the document solves your problem. Well, I have a will. It solves my problem. They call it estate planning. It's not a document. A document is a tool, but without the proper know-how of how to use that tool or whether or not that is the proper tool that you're using, you're really just kind of like going into the dark and hoping you figure it out. So the planning aspect really of it is just, coming back to it, making a plan for now, knowing that plan probably is going to change sometime in the future. As we age, the plan that you have in your 30s is not the same plan that you have in your 50s or the same plan that you have in your 80s.
Sure.
All of that changes, and just kind of going along for the ride and knowing that the plan that you have now is great, but we can always pivot in the future, and knowing that that's a possibility is important.
So in your time as an attorney, what has been one of the most rewarding cases that you've worked on?
So I have several, and most of them have been truly on the elder law side, because really what we do from the elder law perspective of it is we find families often in crisis. So they're dealing with a healthcare issue. They're looking at the insurmountable long-term care cost of, a skilled nursing facility. If you're looking at private pay, state average in Michigan is somewhere around $10,000. I would say it's probably higher than that on most facilities. So you're looking at having to private pay $10,000, $15,000, sometimes more, depending on the care issues, a month. That's scary to a lot of individuals that have worked their entire life.
Yeah.
To see that kind of bleed out the door, not knowing what options are available for them. So on the elder care side, it's really helping kind of find families and know that there's a path forward and that there is an answer for all of this and that we can find stability and that they don't have to lose everything, and you just watch that wave of relief go over them. That is one of the more rewarding things. And truly, like I say all the time, I fight for the little guy. My husband still kind of thinks that I sue people. I'm like, the only people that I get lawsuits I get involved with are fighting over benefits that people are entitled to in terms of making sure that they get what the laws provide for them, and that those are necessary in order for them to maintain their lifestyles, to be able to stay in the community, to stay in their home, to get the care that they need. So all of those are just incredibly rewarding cases that you're going through, and you're just seeing you're taking this incredible mess and you're providing a clear path for people.
And as as you've gotten, further into your career, what are some things that you've learned that, man, if you only do this one thing or these set of things,
right?
As people are listening, what do you want to tell them?
I mean, true, and this is going to sound very self-serving, but it's true, is get the advice. Get the proactive advice ahead of time. So many missteps of loss of time, loss of money, increased stress can be prevented by just getting the advice ahead of time. There's a lot of things that I can unwind, I can fix, but I can't take back that time or that money or that stress that you've experienced. So truly, it sounds very daunting, but the advice is truly going to help you move forward, and really just kind of taking that first step. Nobody wants to come and talk to attorneys. I'm aware of this. That's okay. But truly, just getting more clarity of what your options are really can help people make the right path forward.
On the other side of that, this is going to be more of as a cautionary tale, but what are people risking by not getting the advice?
So there's a lot of things that you're potentially risking, especially when it comes to the elder care side. So Medicaid is the primary benefit that we look at for this. Medicaid is fraught with minefields of potential missteps. And most of the ones that I see are not intentional. Their families doing what families do. They're taking care of each other, their grandparents spoiling their grandkids. There's so many pitfalls that people just don't think about because they're not thinking about the possibility of them having an Alzheimer's diagnosis or suffering a stroke. They're living their lives. They're doing what they're supposed to do. But looking at all those potential pitfalls and things that you could mess up. The other thing I think is just assuming that it's straightforward and simple. Cautionary tale when it comes to forms. There is a ton of legal forms out there that look very simplistic, that require so much legal analysis and are so easy to mess up, that I would really be cautionary about filling out estate planning forms. One of the more common one is real estate. Everybody I think that I talk to, I'm like, please do not do your own deeds. I have to fix them on a regular basis. Like, please don't assume that because there's a form for it, it's simple. Truly, some of the more complicated legal things I've dealt with have forms for them, fraught with missteps.
And then from if someone's listening to this, let's go to the locations where you guys serve. Let's talk about that first before we go into how they can find you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have our main office up in Grand Blanc. We have a satellite office in the Rochester area, and then we have our second location here in Brighton. So we're just down off Grand River Road, closer to like Dorr. So we have the second location here. We just opened that officially last month, and that's where I am currently based out of.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And then if people want to start the ball and get that initial consultation, what's the most efficient way for them to do that?
We make it so easy for people. Really, you can go to our website, so mannorlawgroup.com. We have a couple different options for you. You can submit, you can text us. We have a way. So let's say you're not a phone person, you just want to reach out. You can text us. We'll communicate with you that way. We have a contact us form. If you're just looking for, some good information, like you're like, I don't want to come in yet. I just want to kind of hear about all the things that you're talking about. We focus a lot on community education. So we do a lot of workshops within the community. I know that those are listed on our Facebook group. They're on our website. You can register for those. All of those options are available for you. So if you just want to get information, if you're hearing this podcast and you're like, I have been putting this off and I want to just meet with someone, you can do that on our website. You can call us. Truly, we make it as available for you. If you want to get your kids from across the country to come in and with you on Zoom, we'll make that happen too. Like, it's truly your meeting, your level of comfort. We want to make sure that it's great for whoever's reaching out for us.
That's excellent. Well, thank you so much. Anything else you want the listeners to know before we wrap up today?
No, that's truly it. I was really glad to be here today.
Excellent. Well, thank you for making the time to come in.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that's going to wrap up this week's edition of the Chamber Podcast. As always, you can find today's guest information inside the show notes of the episode. And if you're listening to this, be sure to go over and check out the YouTube channel. And if you're on YouTube, know that we are also on Apple and Spotify as well. Apart from that, we'll catch you next week with a new episode. Take care.